While the original Robocop movie was pure genius, the same cannot be said about the efforts that tried to duplicate the brilliance of this movie. But with VHS emerging to power the movies and advancements in special effects, soon many B-movies fed on the content of Robocop. They created content that bordered on the same themes of Robocop and Terminator. We won't say that all such efforts were trash, but most of them are sure to give you a hangover without even drinking. Here, Demolitionist, 1995. The plot for The Demolitionist hovers around the lines of Robocop. It tells the story of a murdered cop who is brought back to life. The scientist who does so intends to make her a crime-fighting machine. A mean machine she is, as she fights her way through the crime-ridden city, taking on the criminals and fighting international corruption. In the meantime, she has to also undergo some scientific procedures each night to remain alive. This is probably not the worst effort at replicating Robocop. Considering the low budget, the movie does have its moments of dark humor and some amusing twist in the tale. It is rather hilarious how the protagonist has full mental control over herself, even after being resurrected. The movie goes over the top for the most part, as its tilted camera angles along with some crazy perspectives give it a typical visual effect. The artificial bluish light through most of the movie is not the best. Performances from Nicole Eggert and Bruce Abbott are not their best efforts either. To sum up things, this movie can be entertaining, but that is pretty much all you can expect from this cheesy Robocop ripoff. I Love Maria, a.k.a. Roboforce, 1988. Ever hear of a gang operating with killer robots? That is exactly what the hero gang does in this movie. They have two such robots, as they wreak havoc in Hong Kong. One of these robots is made to look like Maria, who is one of the important gang members. When this robot gets damaged during an operation, an inventor from the police force changes her programming so that she starts developing her own personality. Things take an interesting turn from here. The story could have been done better, but the makers compensate with some imaginative action sequences between two robots. The gorgeous Sally Yee can also make you ignore the blunt plot with a million flaws in this movie. After the initial 40 minutes of this movie, when the time almost stands still, things start to get better with frequent action scenes and some funny moments. The special effects are good, and the martial arts, as is the norm in Hong Kong movies, will keep you going through this handicapped effort of creating a Robocop replica. Lady Battle Cop, 1990. Lady Battle Cop depicts how far bootleggers can go to rip off a well-established brand. It tries hard to create magic with the Robocop concept, and the efforts fall flat on its face. The story is about a champion tennis player who is severely injured by some terrorist. When she is revived, she is determined to get her revenge on the terrorist organization. Upon her resurrection, she is transformed into a cyborg cop who challenges the might of the terrorist. The movie is like a magic trick gone wrong, because the director, or somebody behind the camera, tried to pull off a Michael Bay-styled camera angles, and it kind of makes the movie unwatchable at times. The low-budget special effects are disastrous. The sluggish action direction takes all the fun out of the action scenes as well. The only saving grace for this movie is that it's not too long, since the makers decided to cut down on all the character detailing and background details. If you thought this movie could not get any worse, the actors put up a rather bland show, Karu Mikoshiba in particular. When the movie ends with the writing, "The battle is just beginning," you are sure to shudder at the thought of a sequel. Android Cop, 2014. The story is premised in a futuristic society in the year 2045, and it tries hard to clone the glories of Robocop. The plot centers around a detective and his partner who happens to be an android. There is a part of the city where entry is forbidden, but the duo enters the zone. They soon discover a government conspiracy that has created a disease infecting much of the city. We could try to count the good things about this movie, but they are so far and few between, we may have just missed them. Jokes apart, maybe the acting performances by Michael Jai White and Charles S. Doughton are a saving grace for this movie. The script is non-existent and lacks fluency. Poor special effects and some annoying characters do no good for this film. If you thought that at least the action scenes would be entertaining, you are mistaken as they play out pretty dull. We could go on, but the movie wouldn't turn out any better. Don't try watching this movie with a gun near you, as halfway through, the urge to shoot yourself could be a little overwhelming.
700 miles to target. Vector 86%. Closing on target at Mach 3.4. Impact.
The hell was that?
Digital Man trailer, 1995. The story for Digital Man is a curious case of the devil inside the exorcist. A robot sent to foil the plans of some terrorist goes rogue. Once he beats the terrorist and uploads the code in his system, he goes offline, and then a group of soldiers is sent to confront the dangerous robot that runs loose in a community. They soon realize that there is a lot going on in this straightforward mission. The rest of the movie concerns itself with how Digital Man, the robot, manages to evade the soldiers as he goes about his destructive ways. One of the worst things about this movie is the dialogue. It's almost as if they let a kid write the screenplay. Matthias Hughes does pull off a good performance, but he alone is barely enough even with all the action he indulges in. The characters are not drawn out well, and the poor special effects make the action sequences dull. In the end, all the kickboxing, shoutouts, and explosions still fail to make this movie entertaining. Watch this to realize the true worth of Robocop. And the brief topless scene by Chase Masterson.
I'm willing to bet you $20 that you're gonna give me a ticket. Hey, what are you doing? Hey!
R.O.T.O.R, 1988. This movie is a perfect example of why classics should be left alone and not tampered with. They tried to make do with the Robocop tale, but the end result is an absolute mess. The traces of the plot that exist in this movie tell the story of a robot that was made to fight crime. It goes rogue, manages to escape from the development lab, and becomes a deadly machine. How can its killing rampage be stopped? Well, at the end of watching this movie, you will probably say, who cares? There are average movies, there are bad movies, and then there is R.O.T.O.R, a movie that kills brain cells for every minute of its runtime. The poor script, the corny dialogues, the low-budget special effects, they all add up to spell a perfect recipe for disaster. The performance of the lead actor of this movie, Richard Guesswin, is pathetic. The first scene somewhat tells you about the conclusion. For the rest of the movie, you just sit there waiting for things to happen as the movie goes from bad to worse. There is a good chance that you would want to become a murderous robot yourself after putting yourself through the misery of experiencing this movie. Cyborg Cop, 1993. Cyborg Cop takes you through a journey of an ex-DEA agent named Jack. He gets the news of his brother's team getting ambushed in the Caribbean islands. When he reaches out to help, he finds out that his brother has been turned into a cyborg by the drug runner that he was trying to nab. This movie is cheesier than a cheese-burst pizza, and is not everyone's cup of tea. It could help if you were too hammered to notice the countless flaws in the movie. For starters, the script is an absolute goner. The makers even messed up the fight scenes, and you will be greeted to hilarious visuals of the guns firing and the resulting pyrotechnics terribly mismatched. The movie fails dismally in all aspects from acting to editing. David Bradley may have done some better work in his later movies, but this one is certainly not one of his prouder moments. You can go for the typical action movie cliches. You are going to come out bitterly disappointed.
Okay, sweetie. Ready? Aim. Fire!
Robo Chick, a.k.a. Cyber Chick, 1990. The movie doesn't really steal the show, but can steal your mind with the bizarre storyline. It narrates the events as a scientist puts together his creation, a crime-fighting robot that is built in the shape of a Playboy playmate. She has to then take on a drug-smuggling ring and battle it out with the motorcycle gangs. Kathy Showers tries hard to woo you, but that is never enough to sit through the movie. Even the easiest to please movie lovers would find it hard to appreciate this film. The movie tries hard to be goofy, but even their plans on making it as a Robocop spoof did not work. The cast fails miserably with the acting, and it appears like even normal humans in the story are behaving like robots because of their expressionless performances. The biggest challenge for you, as the viewer, would be to maintain sanity through the 102 minutes of this movie's duration. The only silver lining in this film is the ex-playmate. Her exceptional beauty will help you to endure the film.